Africa.
And also coming up in this bulletin, the General Legal Counsel and Attorney General insist in their affidavit that the 499 students failed the entrance examination.
Commuters between Accra and Kumasi to enjoy free flow of traffic by end of years, Roads Minister instructs fast-tracking on works on that stretch.
And also coming up within the next 60 minutes, we tell you about the electric bus startup charting path to zero emissions in Kenya's transport sector. We are super excited that you chose us here on GBC News. We are also live on GTV. We are streaming live on our website at www.gbcghanaonline.com. We are also live on Facebook, the page of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. This is News Hour. My name is Abdul Hayi.
My name is Samuela Korte.
Of course, Robert Rimpon-Manso has joined us with the sign language interpretation of the news. In our very first story, members of the Volta Regional Caucus in Parliament have appealed to NADMO to release relief items to support the 350,000 households in the Ketu South and Along constituencies who were affected by tidal waves.
The members are also calling on government to ensure that the second phase of the Ketu School Defense Project begins to protect the people on the coastal belt of the Volta region.
This level of crisis on our people has not received the attention that we expect. No amount of turning this into a political game will save anybody's face. What will save this government's face is for them to respond appropriately and with alacrity. What will save this government's face is for them to provide the shelter that my people need. Imagine, distinguished and gentlemen, that you come to the House of Parliament and get home, and what you see are the blocks that used to be what you call home.
You don't just go to a scene of a disaster and start distributing relief items. That's not how business. So we empathize and sympathize at least, but let's all approach this matter in a unison, in a more patriotic manner than taking extreme position, partisan positions. It's not going to benefit anybody. At the end of the day, the people who are affected, the people who are displaced, want a relief item. And let's all be seen to be speaking to these relief items.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, Mr. Eric Nana Ajiman Prempe, says NADMO has deployed relief items to Ketu South to cushion affected victims while assessment of the situation continues. He encouraged coastal dwellers to redevelop their towns to be climate resilient.
Organization, we know how we go by it. So a reasonable number of relief items will be sent there. Later on, when the assessments are ready and the number is more than what we said that we will add on top. Ghana has about 550 kilometers of coastals, and tidal waves affects all the coast as we speak now. We are getting briefing that even Dangme areas of Greater Accra is also suffering from such problem. It is not much as what is happening in Ketu, so we're going to go there also. So it is not only a Volta region, but yes, of course, the Ketu South issue has always been the biggest, and government is working towards it. When the second phase is done, the problem will be a thing of
Now, Ghana has received her certificate of good standing from the Africa Union, AU, qualifying her to purchase disaster risk insurance known as the Africa Risk Capacity. The insurance will cater for farmers from unseen disasters of their crops and farms. The Director General of NADMO disclosed this at a side event on disaster risk reduction and climate change in Glasgow.
Risk associated with the agricultural sector in Ghana and other African countries is high compared to the same sector in the advanced countries. Loss of livelihoods, income, land and displacement when disaster strikes are some threats. To avert this on the continent, the African Union developed the African Risk Capacity Group to support governments effectively respond to natural disasters. NADMO said Ghana has successfully completed the process and received the certificate of good standing to benefit from the group.
The work NADMO did, African Union has given NADMO and Ghana a certificate of good standing that qualifies us for us to pay our premium. And the moment we pay the premium, when there's drought, the African Union will come in to support their farmers, especially on financial aspect of it, so that we don't get a problem with the food issues.
The program, through collaboration and innovation financing, will enable countries to strengthen their disaster risk management systems and access rapid and predictable financing when disaster strikes to protect the food security and livelihoods of their vulnerable populations. The organization says it will also partner other African countries to share knowledge and expertise on reducing disaster risk.
Tuesday's Gender Day at COP26 in Glasgow, Scotland, shifted attention to advancing gender-sensitive policies and addressing the inequalities in the climate space that negatively affect women and girls. A global ambassador on Clean Cooking Alliance, Hajia Samira Bawumia, also the wife of the Vice President, is upbeat to see more women empowered to take climate action. Lawyers for the 499 law students who are seeking an interlocutory injunction on the 2021-2022 academic activities of the Ghana School of Law have requested for time to respond to the Attorney General and the General Legal Counsel on the matter. The respondents, the General Legal Counsel and the Attorney General, have insisted in their affidavit in opposition to the application by the law students that the 499 students failed the entrance examination.
I'm standing right here in the premises of
In court on Monday, November 9, 2021, Mr. Martin Pebu, lawyer for the applicants, told the court that they have just been served with affidavits in opposition and needed some time to respond to it. He said they were served with the Attorney General's affidavit on Monday, November 8, 2021, and he said he's here to have conference with his clients on it in order to receive further instructions. He therefore requested for a short adjournment to be able to respond to the affidavits in opposition. Both legal representations for the General Legal Counsel and the Attorney General were not opposed to the application. However, the Ghana Legal Counsel prayed the court to deal with the application as they had primarily objections to raise. In the Attorney General's affidavit in opposition to the application, it argued that there is no imminent irreparable damage that will be caused to the applicants if the court refuses to grant the application for interlocutory injunction filed by the applicants. The Attorney General further described the application as unmeritorious and contended that the applicants have failed to particularize the irreparable damage that will be caused if they are not granted admission, especially when the law school is still in existence and running the law course. According to the Attorney General, the 2021-2022 academic year of the Ghana School of Law is about to start, and no irreparable damage will be done to the applicants since they did not pass the Ghana School of Law entrance examination. The affected students, among other reliefs, want the court to quash the decision by the Ghana Legal Council in a certiorari application and also compel the Ghana Legal Council to admit them to the school. Ruling, the Human Rights Division of the Accra High Court, presided over by Justice Nicholas Mensah Agbodakpi, asked lawyers of the 499 candidates to formally apply and to put the respondents on notice if they wish to file further supplementary affidavit in opposition to support. Minority in Parliament have filed a motion to remove the Minister for Justice and Attorney General, Mr. Godfred Yeboah-Dami, from office. According to the NDC MPs, Mr. Dami has refused to comply with a directive from Parliament to facilitate the admission of some 499 students into the Ghana School of Law. Parliament on October 29 passed a resolution directing the General Legal Council and the Ghana School of Law to admit the 499 candidates who were denied admission to the Ghana School of Law. The House directed the Attorney General and Minister for Justice to ensure that the resolution was carried out. The resolution was passed unanimously following a motion moved by the Deputy Majority Leader, Alexander Afenyo-Makin. The Attorney General wrote back saying Parliament does not have the power to direct the General Legal Council on its admission processes by a resolution. In a memorandum addressed to the Speaker, the Minority Chief Whip, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, wants the Speaker to schedule a vote of censure on the Attorney General. Article 82 of the 1992 Constitution deals with censure of ministers. Accordingly, a 2/3 majority of Parliament is needed to pass any vote of censure against ministers of state, but only after the motion has been debated within 14 days upon receipt by the Speaker of Parliament. If this memo is admitted by the Speaker, the proponent of the memo will have to get 1/3 of the members of Parliament to endorse it, after which it will go to the plenary to be debated on. More than 90 the MPs are said to have already signed the motion. This means the motion is now ready to be debated on in 14 days after a 7-day notice. 1/3 of the vote from Parliament would be needed to see the censorship come into force.
It will be 4 days of discussions at an international cybersecurity conference in Accra, known as Cybex Africa 2021. The plan is to upgrade the skills and knowledge of cybersecurity professionals, lawyers, and cybercrime investigators in Africa to protect critical national and international networks, information infrastructure, and business information technology systems.
The influence and usefulness of information technology is increasing by the day in everyday life, and so is information technology-related crime. Inadequate knowledge or ignorance about such technology creates a fertile ground for cyber criminality. The 4-day International Forum is meant to help prevent, deter, detect, and fight cyber crimes such as sandbox fraud, ransomware, and social engineering. The resource persons say cybersecurity is important because it protects all categories of data from theft and damage. Organized by the Center for Strategic and Defense Studies, Africa, CSDS, the seminar is focused on upgrading the knowledge and skills of participants to protect critical national and international networks, critical infrastructure, and business information technology systems. A Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Emmanuel Ashikoti, in his opening, highlighted how much Africa needs technology to progress. He cited the example of how financial technology fintech is transforming Africa's financial sector, but was also quick to underscore the threats posed to our cyberspace by criminals.
The dark web still remains a challenge to disrupt, and this adds to the many challenges of cyber enforcement. Also, the transnational nature of cyber crimes creates significant jurisdictional challenges for law enforcement. with regard to securing and analyzing electronic evidence in countries from where attacks originate.
The four-day conference coincides the Security Governance Initiative SGI Week, which is focused on issues such as cyber law, digital forensic investigations, and international cooperation to deal with cyber crimes. Participants are from Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria, Kenya, Australia, and the United States of America. Organizations involved include Interpol, Association of Private Investigators, Ghana, and Lex Mundus, and Sencla, an international law firm.
Our 300 officers of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has graduated from the Customs Academy at Petoi in the Agotemezio Per District of the Volta region. The Commissioner of the Customs, Colonel Kwejo Damoa, charged the officers to work hard at their various duty posts to help the GRA realize this year's revenue targeted 60 billion Ghana cedis.
In all, a total of 287 senior and junior officers graduated during the passing out ceremony. The new officers include 79 senior cadets and 208 junior cadets who enrolled at the academy in March this year. They all passed basic paramilitary training and customs courses. The commandant of the GRA Academy, Junior Apia Warden, administered the oaths of allegiance and office. The commissioner of the Customs Division of the GRA, Colonel Retired Kwejo Damoa, reviewed the parade and conferred on the senior cadets the ranks of Assistant Revenue Officers. He entreated the new officers to accept postings to any part of the country and make themselves more accessible to excel in their duties. Colonel Retired Damoa said the GRA is trailing in its revenue mobilization and therefore considers the entry of the new officers strategic as it completes the last quarter and expects to attain the 60 billion Ghana cedis revenue target for this year.
We have no time to spare. And you're not going to have the luxury of having more 3 days. Go and help in this last minute effort to collect every possible person so that we can achieve and possibly exceed our target.
Cadet officers who distinguished themselves during the training were honored. Ernest Frimpong Opoku was given the overall best senior cadet, while Michael Ishan emerged the overall best junior cadet. Senior cadet Nana Sechiwasa Kodie, who commanded the parade, also received the best in drill and best female trainee.
In other news, commuters between Accra and Kumasi may soon enjoy free flow of traffic. This follows instructions from the Sector Minister for Roads and Highways, Mr. Kwesia Makwata, to the contractor on Monday when he toured the stretch to inspect the project.
The minister, Mr. Makwata, said government is making sure that all trunk roads in the country are made dual carriageways, including Temata Kusumbo, Temata Plau, Accra to Kumasi, and Accra to Cape Coast, and through to Elibo. The minister cautioned that no laziness as far as the road construction is concerned will be tolerated under his watch.
I want all contractors working on our trunk roads to double up. Government is making great effort, to release monies. Contractors are receiving 100 million at a go, 120 million, 80 million, 60 million, and the records are there.
He also charged them to introduce night shifts to complete the project on schedule. On the demonstration against the government of roads, Mr. Makwata said every citizen has the right to express open disapproval.
As a government, we welcome that. Okay, what is the use for anybody or group of people to embark on violent demonstration because of roads? Demonstration or no demonstration, government has a program and we are following it, okay? And it's unreasonable for any individual to think that Ghana or government should build all roads simultaneously at the same time. It's unreasonable.
The 15.5 kilometer stretch from Ofankor to Nsawam, which will have 5 interchanges, is under construction by Maripoma Construction Enterprise, while the 97% complete 31.7 kilometers from Kwafukrom to Apedja construction is being undertaken by China International Water and Electric Corporation. He said works will also continue from Apedja to Kumasi on completion of the procurement arrangements with various contractors. According to him, the cracked Kumasi stretch has been abandoned for a long time after former President Kufuor started it in the year 2000. He said government will follow up to ensure that contractors work quickly to complete the project. In all, government plans to complete 11,000 road projects by 2024, but is sure to complete 6,000.
With 6 to 7 persons killed daily from road accidents in the country, the Ghana Road Safety Authority and the Motor Transport and Traffic Department of the Police Service continue to educate the motoring public on how to minimize road accidents as Christmas approaches.
From statistics in the third quarter of 2021, 11,857 road accidents have occurred, claiming 2,126 lives. These reports are from the Motor Transport and Traffic Department, MTTD. In an exclusive interview with GBC News, the Communications Director of the National Road Safety Authority, Madame Pearl JC, said indiscipline on the part of road users and weak enforcement are the major causes of these road accidents, and culprits get away since some authorities connive with them.
Weak enforcement is also a major factor for road safety management to be complete. As an agency is educating promoting road safety through sensitization, awareness creation, campaigns, publicities, and advocacy. There is another agency that is supposed to enforce whatever standards the National Road Safety Authority has put in place. Most of the time, when these people are apprehended or they are caught, they are let to go, because even in our country there is a culture of I beg you. He's a brother of a big man, he's the driver of somebody somewhere.
Madame Pelchisi appealed to policymakers to construct dual carriageways to minimize head-on collisions, which claim lots of lives. She later called on all to support the efforts to minimize road accidents in the country.
Dual carriage roads do not promote head-on collisions, and we know that most of the time it's the head-on collisions that make a lot of people die, because these big buses will collide head-on and a lot of people will die. Accidents have been increasing because there is influx of a lot of vehicles in our system now, and so the roads should be expanded to accommodate the number of vehicles in the country. So we appeal to policymakers that they should look at dualizing our roads.
Also, the Operations Director of the Motor Transport and Traffic Department, Superintendent Dr. Sasu Mensah, cautioned all not to give bribes to the police and vice versa. He said the police has in place an electronic system as well as being there physically to arrest road users who flout road traffic regulations.
If you are caught within the word of receiving gratuity or any form of bribe, then the laws will deal with you. But remember, the crux of the issue is that the one who gives and the one who receives, both of them are at fault. So what we advise is that thou shalt not give, and thou shalt also not receive.
Our next story will take you to a site where if you are faint-hearted, you don't have to probably watch this story. That's because crocodiles are wild semi-aquatic reptiles and dangerous to humans. Visitors to any facility with crocodiles are always cautioned to be extra vigilant. But on the Crocodile Island in Ada, Mr. Benjamin Akumdo lives with these crocodiles and says they are friendly and he is comfortable with them around him. Now, GBC takes you on a journey to the Crocodile Island in Ada, where tourists and other visitors come to see this man who lives with the crocodiles. Now, I told you before, it's not for the faint-hearted. This is part of our tour of Ghana series.
Crocodiles are large reptiles found in tropical regions of Africa, Asia, the American and Australia. They are members of the order Crocodilian, which includes caimans, gharials and alligators. There are 13 species of crocodiles in different sizes. The smallest is the dwarf crocodile, which grows about 5.6 feet and weighs about 6 and 7 kilograms. The largest crocodile is a saltwater crocodile and can weigh up to 907 kilograms, growing up to over 20 feet. In Ghana, Paga Crocodile Pond in the Upper East region is well known for its friendly crocodiles, and tourists enjoy a visit to the site. At the Adan Crocodile Island, history says there were a great number of crocodiles living on the island, but increased human activity has driven them away. But these crocodiles seem to be finding their way back to their habitat. Mr. Benjamin Akomdo, who lives on the island with the crocodiles, told the news team that he has lived on the island all his life. He said he started seeing the crocodiles some years ago when he started a fish farm and keeping some livestock. According to Mr. Akomdo, he realized that the crocodiles have been eating the fish and some of the livestock. One day, he saw a crocodile hatchling in his fish pond and decided to pick it up and create a pond for it and feed it. Since then, the crocodiles have become his friends and they live together. Mr. Akumdo has created a pond for the crocodiles for the safety of visitors and tourists, but there are some that still come to feed on his livestock when there are no visitors. Mr. Akumdo showed the news team how friendly the crocodiles are and asked the reporter to try hold this little one at a chicken out.
Wait. But if you touch him, just touch him. So when you hold it,
at the Crocodile Island, Mr. Kumdo has also created a separate pond for crocodile hatchling where he nurtures them before releasing them to the main pond. For visitors and tourists, it is interesting to see how a man lives at peace with a dangerous reptile like the crocodile. Mr. Benjamin Akumdo believes domestic tourism must be promoted to raise some revenue for the national kitty.
They start to lay eggs, then they are fights. The other ones, they can kill the young one or before they can hatch. You see, that's the problem. So now I have to get more support to create big pond, different stage by stage. But when you just gather them all together, they are not feel fine. They will be fighting.
Mr. Kumdo also has some huge pythons on the island. His plan is to make the island a zoo with a variety of animals for public viewing.
I was once at Paga, the crocodile pond, and they said, oh, you'd sit on the crocodile, it wouldn't do anything. I said, what if it changes its mind? I mean, when you get my turn, it may change its mind. Would you take a ride on one?
Never. I don't think I'll ever try doing that.
We'll take a break. When we return, we'll bring you business news. Please don't go away.
It's GTP, the name behind all
You promised to give me water. This water is coming from the gutter. It will make me sick.
Honor, that is it. Due to the galamsey activities of the accused and his cohorts, they have polluted all our water bodies. See, this water is coming from our taps. They have destroyed all our forests, and above all, the activities are killing people.
Mr. Eja, you have been found guilty of indulging in galamsey. And since you don't want to mention the names of your bosses, you have been sentenced to 25 years in prison. This is my judgment.
Please, I will talk. Mr. Francis is bad. Mr. Mountain is bad. Mr. Please, Your Honor, please.
Enjoy galamsey. Enjoy galamsey.
MTN and Whirlpool. My name is Morris Ogbete. In our very first story, transport operators will on Thursday embark on a sit-down strike in demand of a removal of levies, margins and taxes in the fuel price build-up. They want Finance Minister Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta to scrap the energy sector levy, the energy recovery levy and the sanitation levy as he reads the budget on Monday.
The year began with a fuel price of 4.950 Ghana cedis per litre for either diesel or petrol in January 2021. And as at the first week of November 2021, it is 6.90 per litre, presently about 1 Ghana cedi 95 pesos, calculating to 35.04%. Cumulative increment, while the direct change between the first window of January and the first window of November is 39.39%. This has increased the price per gallon of petrol or diesel from 22.28 in January to 31.05 in November 2022, representing 8 cedi 77 pesos increment.
Government has to reduce some taxes for all Ghanaians to be relieved. And if the government do not do that, will park all the cars on Thursday. 3 o'clock, all cars will be grounded.
Until when?
Indefinite. You see, as I said, we'll park the cars from 3 o'clock. Friday, we are not going anywhere. Saturday, we are not moving. Sunday, we are not moving until something is done on Monday in the budget. Before.
And away from that story, from 1st of January 2022, all ECOWAS countries would implement the new common external tariff as the old tariff guidelines and versions for individual countries expire.
The Common External Tariff is one of the principal instruments for harmonizing ECOWAS member states and strengthening its common market. The expiration of the old tariff requires the gathering of customs officers of member states in Accra. The GIZ trade facilitator at ECOWAS, Mrs. Rosemond Danso-Asante, said the operationalization of the ECOWAS Customs Code is being considered in the development of relevant regulations governing customs in the region.
Presently, the implementation of the ETLS has improved. The number of approved companies and products has increased by 38% and 41% respectively from October 2018 to September 2021. Additional tools such as the ETLS website, e-certificates, and a monitoring mechanism have been initiated to, among others, facilitate the approval process, improve communication among key actors, provide a one-stop shop for all ETLS information, and enhance the uptake of ETLS.
The Assistant Commissioner at the Customs Division of the GRA, Mr. Fetchin Akoto, spoke of some considerations in the new CET that are on the table for discussions.
New products are coming in, but their volume and their value will have to be mentioned specifically in the tariff. And then by this new tariff, other considerations by other world international organizations have made recommendations for introduction of certain items. Let me give an example, like edible insects have been introduced specifically into the new tariff, which we didn't used to have in the 2017 version.
The CET implies that all goods entering the customs territory of any ECOWAS country will have the same tariff applicable to them.
The Ghana Investment Promotion Center and the United Nations Development Program have jointly called on private lenders and businesses to invest in areas that will accelerate the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals in Ghana. The maiden breakfast meeting on SDGs investor map utilization hopes to close the financing gap estimated at $43 billion per year.
Developmental agenda, and it has over the past years and going forward. Even with the SDGs as defined now, there are opportunities to make money. And that is what the SDG toolkit or roadmap clearly shows. It helps you with the intelligence of the investment landscape and takes away half the work that you have to do as an investor. But it also gives you the possible returns there. So now the challenge is that we at GIPC need to rein in the private sector. The private sector responds to opportunity. They respond to opportunity and they respond also to return. And so once you can demonstrate that to them, then you can work. And I believe that with the UNDP roadmap or toolkit, we have that real focus. Additionally, GIPC will support to ensure that we create the opportunities. We also give aftercare support.
We go to the Interbank Forex market and bring you latest on how the cedis perform. We also update you on latest prices of major commodities on the international market.